Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. Today we're talking about, of course, Barry, because what else do I talk about? Nothing besides Barry. That's what this podcast is about. We're talking about season 3, episode 2 today. I don't know if you could see in the description for my podcast episode, I literally put what the heck, because what the heck was this episode? I'm really trying to figure it out here. I don't I don't know what's going on. I mean, I do, but I'm also just like, how is this only episode 2 and we're already this deep into it? Gosh, this is too much already. It's already too much. Um, but before we even jump into that, I just wanted to say hi to anybody that's tuning in for the first time. Or if you're listening to the podcast later and you're like, who the heck is this girl and what the heck is she talking about? Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I clearly do a podcast about the HBO show Barry. If you haven't gotten into it, get into it. Although I will warn you, the show is very dark. And it gets darker with each season. So if you go back and watch season 1, you could stream it on HBO Max. You go back and you start it and you're like, oh, maybe it's not too bad. But by season 3, you'll see what I'm talking about. So just a fair warning, it is a pretty dark show. I mean, there's obviously comedy in it, but it's not I don't want to say it's a comedy because a lot of it is actually pretty sad and pretty emotional. But yeah, that's what I like talking about because clearly there's something wrong with me. Um, so, season 3, episode 2. I always like to start off by talking about the opening shot. What is the first thing that we see as an audience? So, with season 3, episode 1, it started off. I would say, episode 2 was much more amusing. I think, they kind of made it a little bit more lighthearted, even though the situation itself um, really isn't funny. But the way they shot it for episode 2, like the opening scene was, I think it was supposed to be like funny compared to episode 1. So we left off with um, Barry was about to shoot Kusuno, and he comes up with a quote unquote brilliant idea to redeem himself and to make it up to Kusuno. And he tells Kusuno, get back in the trunk. And so the episode cuts off there. And so really episode 2 is really just picking up right where we left off. The opening shot is Barry at a fast food place. And I know at first I was like, what? Like, what is going on? And he's not getting fast food for him. He's getting fast food for Kusuno, who is in the trunk of his car. And the way they shot it was funny because it's kind of like from the perspective of somebody just sitting in the place eating. And if you were to look out the window and you just see somebody like pop their trunk and there's a person in there and they're giving them food, like you would be like, what the heck is going on? So it was funny, but it's also like messed up because he really has Kusuno like riding in the trunk of his car for who knows how long. It's probably been some hours. This poor man, like, and he's an older man too. Like, come on, Barry, really? But he has him in the trunk and he's giving him his food and he's like, okay, like we gotta go. I have this plan that I'm gonna do and I have to execute it. And my theory, I think I mentioned this in my last episode, my theory for what Barry was gonna do to make it up to Kusuno was to try to get him a role on Sally's show. And that, honey, was exactly what he tried to do. Keyword is tried, okay? That is exactly what he tried to do. And I swear to you, God, I did not know for sure if that's what he was going to do. I didn't read any spoilers or anything like that. That was just my personal theory because I felt like there was a little bit of foreshadowing in the first episode when Kusuno was like, hey, my career is like crap, it's in the dump. And I felt like that planted the seed in Barry's head where he was like, oh, okay, I can get him his career back, or I can get him back on not on stage, but back on screen. I could give him this, and that will be like his way of making up for it. For killing Moss, by the way. This is his way of making up for killing somebody that Kusuno loved dearly. So clearly this man is not right in the head. Was he ever right in the head? No, but at this point he's like far gone, way far gone. And So yeah, that's how the episode starts. And let's just get into the scene that we're all still shook over. I know I am. The scene between Barry and Sally. Um, really unsettling, really disturbing. I feel so bad for Sally, because wait, let me just let's go back. Let's go back. Um, I mean, obviously, if you've seen the episode, then you know what I'm talking about. But for those who listen and don't, I want to explain it the best I can. So Barry goes to Sally. Sally is his girlfriend, if you guys don't know. Sally is the one with her own TV show. And he goes to her and he's like, hey, I know how we can help Mr. Cousineau. Let's get him a role on your show. And I knew when he did that, I just knew it wasn't going to work out. Like, I knew she wasn't going to be like, oh, yeah, sure. Because it's like, if she wanted to do that, then that would have happened already. And she was just like, yeah, I kind of tried that already. I think she said she had mentioned his name to maybe like casting director or other people on the team. And basically everybody was like, no, we don't want to work with that guy. And so that right there, you see that people in Hollywood and people in the industry do not like Cousineau. And I think they kind of hinted at that, in previous seasons. But in this one, we really see that like a lot of people do not F with Cousineau. People are just like, nah, we don't want to work with that dude. Like he was rude to me. He did this, he did that. And so she's kind of just like, yeah, no, like I tried that, it didn't work. And Barry, you could see like he's kind of becoming unhinged and getting upset. And he's just like, I thought like you wanted to help him. Like I thought we were going to be on the same page. And she's just like, oh, well, I do want to help him. But, like kind of just like, well, oh, well, because that's just so Sally, Sally's kind of just thinking about herself. I think she does care about Cousineau, of course, but, not enough to try to push to get him to be on the TV show. So, yeah, she kind of, I don't want to say dismisses it, but she's kind of just like, yeah, sorry, like not going to work out. And y'all, Barry flips out. We've seen Barry flip out in previous seasons, but he's never flipped out on her. And it was just a matter of time, you guys. Like, this is what I was scared of. Like, I just kept thinking when people were like, oh, but he cares about Sally or he cares about Cousineau, so he's not going to hurt them. Excuse me? Have you seen this man? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And I mean, it was scary. Like I'm laughing, but it was really disturbing. Not only because we've never seen him flip out on somebody that he's so close to in the show, but I think it was the setting that made it really uncomfortable. Like he was at her place of work, which is really disrespectful. And just really embarrassing. Like I can only imagine if that was me. Like I would be like, oh my God, seriously? Like here of all places. And so when he flips out on her, there's people in the background. It's set up like really realistic because if this happened in real life, people are going to be like, what is going on over there? And who is this guy? And why is he yelling at her? And it's kind of funny, but it's also sad. There's a part where I think it's one of her writers that's sitting in the background. She gets up, she grabs her stuff and leaves. I'm like, girl, that'd be me too. Because personally, I'm the type, I don't like being around violence. I don't like being around people who are arguing or anything like that. It makes me super, super anxious, super, super uncomfortable. And so I would probably be that type to be like, yeah, I'm a dip. Peace out. If you need my help, let me know. But like, I'm gonna go because this, I ain't got nothing to do with this. And so that girl got up and left. And her co-star, I think her name is Katie, played by Elsie Fisher, is just sitting in the back looking so uncomfortable. And it's just, the whole thing was just, like I said, just really disturbing, but really sad. Because you could tell that Sally is just like, what? Like I think she just didn't even know how to react. I think, of course, you could say that she was, scared, but I think she was just really confused and just like, where is this coming from? Like, why are you flipping out about helping Cousineau? Like, you know what I mean? It's like of all things to get upset about. And of course, she doesn't know that like he's in the trunk and everything that's going on with Barry. But I'm hoping this is a wake-up call for her. I mean, it doesn't look like it is, but I'm really hoping the farther along we go in the season that she kind of gets to a point where she's like, hold up, like, maybe I need to break up with him, or maybe I need to distance myself from him, because this seriously, not, there's seriously something wrong with him, and there's something not right up here. And she has like a whole show that she needs to focus on. So, I mean, this is what I talked about before. I'm kind of hoping that she does break up with him, but the other part of me is scared of like what that will cause and how he would react to that. I don't know. Maybe he's just so numb that he would kind of just be like whatever, or maybe he would flip out on her again. I don't know. But yeah, it was scary. And like he gets in her face, and no, he doesn't hit her. He's not physically abusive, but come on, like that's really, even for a character like her, I know that she's like the unlikable character, and she has narcissistic tendencies as well, and she's kind of the person that you're just like, but even for someone like her, like she doesn't even deserve that, and especially with what we know of her past. She used to be with somebody who was abusive. And so I think the really sad thing about the whole um, confrontation is that you could see her, throughout the episode regressing. And I feel like she kind of went back to that place mentally of like, oh, my boyfriend is mad at me. I have to comfort him. I have to apologize. I have to be the one to make it up to him or fix it. And that's kind of what she does. Or not even kind of, that is what she does. And it's really sad to see, because it's like, dang, like she went through this for so long, and I know she thought, in the beginning, Barry was like the complete opposite of her ex, and not knowing that Barry is way worse than her ex. Like he's killing people, and she doesn't know, and she doesn't see that, and it's horrible. It's really, really horrible. And I just pray that there's a wake up call at some point later in the season, and she's like, yeah, I need to let this man go, or I need to like something. And I think they're living together too, so I don't know how that's going to work out. If she were to break up with him, like, would he actually leave? I don't know. But yeah. And Katie, who was, like I said, in the background at the time, there's I would say like a really important scene where she goes to the writer and I think another person that works backstage, and she's like, we need to report him. Like, it was really scary. Like, I don't know if you guys seen what I've seen, but this, and she can clearly see through Barry, like, this man is violent, No, she doesn't really know him, but if I saw that, or if anybody saw that, that's exactly what you would think. You would be like, this person is crazy. Like, this person is off their rockers. Like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing coming to somebody's job and yelling at them? And then it's just too much. But anyway, so she's like, we need to report him. And it sucks because it's like, they're basically just like, well, what are we going to do about it? That's kind of like her own personal business that has nothing to do with the show. He doesn't work here, so we can't report him to HR. What are we going to tell the cops? Like, he didn't hit her. He didn't threaten her. I mean, yeah, he got up in her face, but he didn't actually say anything. So it's just like, and I think realistically, that's how it would be. You would be like, well, yeah, I want to help her, but like, what are we going to do? Because she's not really helping herself either. And if she's not asking for help, how are we going to help her? And you could see that in Katie's face. And I think too, with Katie, I think she really looks up to Sally. I think she really admires her. Not only as a coworker, but as a writer and somebody in the industry. She probably sees her as like, oh, that's something I would like to be one day. And so I'm sure that's hard for her to see that somebody that she looks up to is like, okay, they're clearly in an abusive relationship, or they're with somebody who's, not good for them. And I think she has really good intentions wanting to help Sally, but honestly, that makes me scared for Katie, because maybe I've watched too many Lifetime movies. I don't know. But usually in Lifetime movies, if they're the crazy guy, the best friend comes in, they're like, girl, you need to drop him. He's crazy. Da 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 da. The best friend gets killed. So I'm just like, Katie, maybe you should keep your mouth shut, because Barry will probably come after her. And like I said, he's so far gone that I don't think he's going to be like, oh, well, she's young or she's kind of like a kid, so I won't worry about her. Nah, he would go after her. So I'm really scared for Katie. I know she has good intentions, but I'm like, girl, save yourself, get out of it before things get worse for you. Y'all, it's just too much. I need a breather. So while I'm taking a breather, let me tell you guys that the podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. Some of you guys have already known that. Other people that are tuning in for the first time, that is how I'm able to make my podcast. I make it through Streann Studio software, which is from Streann Media. And so if you guys have seen any of my previous episodes, you'll see that I usually have some type of like colorful border. You know, I have my name. There's the Streann logo in the corner. Wait, which way? I'm pointing the wrong way. But you guys have always seen that, I'm sure. And that's just some of the cool features that you can do with Streann Studio. It's really simple and easy to use. I would not say that if it wasn't true. I am not a techie person, so if I'm telling you it's easy to use, trust me when I say it is easy to use. It's a really great platform for content creators like me or anybody that wants to be a content creator. If you would like to create your own podcast, if you've been thinking about creating your own podcast, I definitely recommend using Streann Studio. All you have to do is go to studio.streann.com. Streann is spelled with two N's at the last, STREANN.com, and they'll ask for your email, and then they'll send you a login code and you're in. So there's no creating an account, there's no paying for anything. It's really easy and simple to use. Like I said, you're able to change the background, you're able to change the logo. I could change my name on here if I wanted to, the font. Maybe I'll kind of play around with that a little bit next episode, just so you guys can really see what I'm talking about, because from my end, I can see all of the features that I'm able to use as a podcast host. And it's really simple, and it's just laid out very easy for anybody to use. So highly recommend checking out Streann Studio. If you guys end up creating a podcast or doing live streams with Streann Studio, tag me, mention me, direct message me. Just let me know so I can support you just like you guys support me. And tag Streann as well, because I'm sure they would love to see that people are using their platform. So yeah, anyways, let's get back into Barry. So yeah, that whole scene with Barry and Sally was just like, it was like that, and I feel like that's probably, I don't know if I said this already, but I feel like that's probably been one of the worst scenes that we've seen throughout this entire show. And like I said, I think it's because Sally is a character that we all know, and I will say all know and love, but she's a character that we know, we're familiar with her. She's been there from the very beginning. And so now that we're seeing him turn on people that he supposedly loves or, really cared about or, cares about or cared about at one point, now I think people are really seeing like, yeah, we're all really gonna be in for this season, because again, this is only episode 2, you guys. This is episode 2, and we have 8 episodes this season. So, yeah, take with that what you will, because and see, now you see why I kept saying I was scared and I was nervous in the very beginning before season 3 even started. This is exactly why, and this is even worse than what I thought it was going to be. It's just, I mean, they're not holding back. I'll just say it like that. Yeah, and so let's move off from the Barry and Sally scene, because it's just a lot. It's a lot. So we know that Barry is trying to get a part for Kusano, and in the process of that, he ends up getting a part for himself, which was obviously unintentional, but so it's kind of funny, but it's also just like, really? Like, you have this man stuck in the back of your trunk and you gonna go and like do an audition in the meantime? Like, who do you think you are, Barry? Who do you think you are? What are you doing with your life? And so he goes to a casting director and he's like, hey, like, I need you to give my acting coach a job. And then, of course, they hear the name. They're like, nope, he's rude. Don't like him. No, we're not helping him out. And so she's like, but hey, like, maybe you could read for this part. And by the end of the episode, he gets the part. And he also ends up getting Kusano a part. I think his part is just like an extra or something really small, but he's just, it's something that he's really excited about. And he's like, hey, I got a part and I got you a part too. And so now I guess he's thinking that, yeah, this is all going to work out, but I already know. I already know something is going to go wrong next episode. I just already know it's not going to work. You can't make up killing somebody's partner by giving them a role. And I know there's some people that are kind of like, well, maybe Kusano will kind of like, I don't think he would actually forgive him, but I feel like maybe he's kind of gonna reap the benefits of it because he is narcissistic and he does want to act. I mean, I'm sure he I'm sure he does want to be back in the spotlight, but it's also just like I don't know. I don't really see him being like happy about getting a role. I think even if Barry were to get him the role like on Sally's show, or if he got him like a really good role, I still don't think he would be happy because like, he really loved Moss. And like I said, that's not going to replace somebody that you loved. So as narcissistic as he can be, I really don't think that that's gonna make him happy, whether he gets a good role or not. So, like I said, I'm already seeing that this is not gonna go well. This is not gonna go well. I'm scared. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I already know it's gonna be bad. And I'm not ready. I'm not ready to see what's gonna happen. You guys can let me know what you think is gonna happen. Maybe like some theories on like once they start. I'm assuming next episode they'll probably be filming. Barry and Kusino will probably be on set and they'll be filming for this TV show that he booked. And I just, oh God, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel like it's gonna be really bad. Anyway, let's move away from Barry and Kusino for a minute and talk about Hank and Cristobal. Excuse me. How dare you give us Hank and Cristobal in the very first episode and then take it away from us in the second episode? As I say, how dare you? I'm saying this to everybody that writes for Barry, especially Bill and Alec and all the other writers. How dare you? You literally was like, here's Hank and Cristobal, and we were all happy about it. And then it's like, now they're broken up. Second episode, you guys. This is the second episode. I'm tearing up because I'm just like, how much crazier can it get? I probably shouldn't ask that because I already know it's going to get crazier. But now I don't necessarily think that that they're broken up for good, because Cristobal basically broke up with Hank to protect him. And he's clearly scared of what's going to happen if anybody finds out that Cristobal is gay and that he's with Hank. And not only are you with another man and you're married and have kids, but you're with somebody who's supposed to be your enemy. And so that just makes everything 10 times worse. And we see like the introduction of a new character come in. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. I don't remember his character's. Oh, I think it's Fernando, I think. So I believe that is Cristobal's father-in-law, if I got it right, because he said like, oh, your wife and your children miss you and everything like that. And I think he said that was his daughter. So I'm like, that must be his father-in-law. But I know he said that this dude is like the head of the Bolivians. So I'm sure it's like whatever he says goes. And you could clearly see on Cristobal, like when he shows up, he's like, like, what are you doing here? Kind of like nervous. And so he goes after the Chechens, which is Hank and his men. And he's like, yeah, we're coming here to destroy them. And Cristobal is just like, oh, shoot, And I think he texts him and he kind of lets him know, like, hey, clear out because my people are coming for your people. And, thankfully they make it out. And so nobody gets hurt. But now it's a problem because this guy is here and he's, just because this first attempt didn't work does not mean that he's not going to try to go back and kill Hank and his people. And so now it's like, that's going to drive a wedge between them clearly. And so I think Cristobal was just trying to get ahead of it. And he's just like, hey, like, this is really dangerous. Like they're going to come after you. And I can't have you die on me. So I would rather just break up with you and just hopefully, keep us both safe, keep our secret a secret. And he just leaves. And so Like I said, it's not so much that like he just doesn't want to be with him anymore or anything like that. I definitely think he if he finds a way to make it work, I think they will come back together, or maybe Hank will do something. I don't know. Maybe he'll get Barry involved. I feel like Barry's probably going to be involved in this some kind of way. But yeah, I definitely think they'll be reunited. Hopefully next episode, or sometime soon. But it's still just so sad because it's like it's always something, man. Like as soon as we get a loving relationship, it just, and I knew something like that was going to happen. I knew that they weren't going to be happy for long. And I know you're probably like, well, dang, like Cristobal is cheating on his wife and he has kids and everything like that. But still, it's like clearly he's not, I mean, he's not happy with his wife, and he's not even into women. So, like seeing, and I think the big thing for a lot of us as an audience is seeing Hank happy, because the first two seasons, he was always like the follower. Like he was always kind of following behind somebody else. Or I guess you could say he was trying to be a leader in season 2. But I think now more than ever, because he doesn't really have so many men now, and it's just him, and then he's with Cristobal, and now I feel like he's able to, to kind of take control of his life. And so a big part of that happiness is coming from Cristobal. And now that he's not with him, it's just like, no, don't hurt my baby Hank. I know he's a monster and I know he's done bad things, but like, I mean, I want him to be happy, I don't know. I can't explain it why. I just love his character. But you know what? There's people that feel that way about Barry, so don't judge me, because Barry is way worse than Hank. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So I think a lot of people are shocked for some reason that Barry is just like really showing off his rage and how violent he is this season. And people are just like, oh my God, like I used to love his character and now and I'm just like, but he was always like that though. That was always there in him from the very beginning. We've seen that, whether it was in flashbacks or it was in present. He killed his friend. He killed Chris in the first season. And so I'm not really sure why people are surprised by that. The shock for me is that they're doing this in episode 2. I think it's more so because the shock, like I said, the shock for me is just that they're doing everything so fast and it's so early on. Like I said, that scene between Barry and Sally, that was like 5 minutes into the episode, and then he's blowing up at her and you're just like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. Usually you see stuff like that in a TV show, like kind of like maybe like in the middle of the episode or maybe towards the end, but this was like in the beginning. So it was already tense from the very beginning. And I'm just like, that's what's shocking me, where I'm just like, whoa, like he's not, it's not taking like 3, 4, 5 episodes for him to blow up at Sally. This is episode 2. And I keep saying that over and over because I'm like, you guys, this is episode 2. We still have other episodes to go. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it. But yeah, so that's where I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that he's like losing it. I mean, it is scary and it's unsettling to see because he didn't do that as much. He didn't do that as much in the first 2 seasons, but I'm not surprised by it because we already knew that he was a violent person. I mean, he was a freaking hitman, for God's sakes, or not even was, he still is. But now not only is he a hitman, now he's just killing people because he doesn't want to get caught, or he's killing people because he has a fit of rage. I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. Now he's killing people, and it's not, you can't use the excuse of like, oh, or he's doing a job and he's just killing bad people. Like, no, he's killing people like basically because he wants to. And now you've just crossed a whole other line. If you couldn't cross a line before, now you've crossed a whole other line. And there's really no defending that. And I think a lot of people are seeing that now. So they're just like, well, like, oh my God, like I really loved his character, but I can't root for him anymore. And I think I think I might have said that in one of my podcast episodes. Maybe it was the first one where I was like, I know I love Barry, but now I'm like, no, Barry need to get his beat, okay? Because he's doing too much. Oh my God, like the scene at the end of the episode, I was about ready to knock Barry out. I don't know how y'all felt, but that's how I felt. Somebody need to come beat this dude's behind, because the way he was speaking to Kusino and the way he was looking at him, like, are you serious? Are you for real? And hold on, okay, hold on. Before I even talk about that scene, because that was the scene that really got me, besides Barry and Sally. Before I even get into that scene, I would just want to re-mention to you guys that this podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. Anybody that's tuning in right now that hasn't been watching the episodes or hasn't seen my other two podcast, or no, not even other three. Oh my God, this is episode 4 for me. That hasn't watched my other podcast episodes, you probably don't know that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. I'm using Streann Studio software to make my podcast, so that way I'm able to go live every Tuesday and chat with you guys. If you use Streann Studio, you don't have to go live through Facebook. You could definitely put your content on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. If you guys don't already know, I upload my podcast episodes to YouTube and Anchor/Spotify every Tuesday. So if you missed the live, it's totally fine. You can listen to it later on. And I think I've already suggested, if you haven't seen the new episodes and you don't want to be spoiled, go back and listen to my podcast episodes later, and they're there. They're on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube. Sometimes I'll even post clips to my Instagram or TikTok, but it's usually those 3 that I mentioned. And then, of course, it's on Facebook too. It's on my page, even after the live is over. So I highly recommend you guys check out Streann Studio. It's super easy, super simple to use. If you're looking to be a content creator, if you're looking to be a podcast host, definitely check it out. And tag me, tag Streann Studio if you use it. We want to see the content that you're making with Streann Studio so we can support. And I'll definitely shout you out if you do that. And if you say, oh, Tiffany recommended this to me and I'm using it now, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to comment and let you know that I see you. So, yeah, anyways, let's get back to what I was about to mention, the last scene of the episode. Again, I know I'm probably like going all over the place, but I really just like to focus on what I feel like are highlights of the episode, I guess, instead of just going over the whole entire episode. Because it's like, oh my God, I just saw a bug. That scared me. If you see the whole thing, then I really don't want to sit here and tell you the whole thing again. But of course, for people who haven't seen it, I know you're probably like, what? Like, that's what happened? Yes, that is what happened. So the last scene is the scene that really made me upset at Barry. So like I mentioned before, Kusino was in the trunk. He's been in the trunk like the whole day for hours. And Barry's like riding around trying to figure out like what he could do. And he goes to Sally. Just to recap, he goes to Sally. Sally basically says no. He blows up at her. He goes to another casting director. She says no. We're not working with Kusino because he's a beep hole. And then she offers Barry a role. And so he comes back in the evening time and he reads for that role and he gets it. And he ends up talking the casting director into getting Kusino a role, which is just a role as like an extra, I think. And so he's super happy about that. And he goes to the trunk to tell Kusino. Kusino's gone. Now, when I seen that, I was like, he got out. But should have known that wasn't going to last long. So he's running, right? He's running down the street trying to get away from Barry. And of course, Barry is looking for him. To make a long story short, Kusino makes it back home and he's staying. I don't know if he's staying with his son and his grandson, or his son and his grandson are staying with him. I'm pretty sure that's Kusino's home. So I think he just has his son and his grandson staying with him because he's kind of reconnected with his son. If you've seen last season, there was no relationship between them because Kusino was not a father to him. He wasn't there for him. But now they've reconnected, and so he's around much more. And so they're there, and he comes and he's like, okay, you're going to have to call the police, looking all like crazy and stuff. And his son is just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And child, tell me why he walks in the room and Barry is sitting there already with his grandson. And I'm like, y'all are doing too much. Too much. I swear to God, this feels like a Lifetime movie sometimes. Too many like twists and turns and stuff. But anyway, he comes in and he's looking like, oh shoot. And his son is like, wait, like what happened to you guys? Because Barry's looking all jacked up too, after he's been chasing Kusuno. And I think Barry just says like, oh, like your dad was helping me with the role or something like that, and we got too much into it. But the way Barry was looking at Kusuno, it was really scary. Again, very unsettling, very disturbing. Um, and he motions for him to come over and like sit down, like we're gonna have a talk. And I was like, oh gosh, oh gosh. So he sits down, and Barry is basically like, I got you a role, and I got me a role, and so we're gonna do this. Like we're gonna do this whether you like it or not. Because if you don't, your son and your grandson go bye-bye. And Kusuno is just, looking at him like straight face and stuff. And I don't know if it's so much that he's scared, but I think it's more so just like, he's just like, oh shoot, like how am I gonna get out of this? Because now his family is involved. And again, these are people that he cares about. He already lost Moss. He doesn't want to lose his son now that he's reconnected with him, and lose his grandson. So it's just like, it's just too much. And so he's looking at him, and tell me why Barry starts to tear up, talking about, I love you, Mr. Kusuno. Do you love me? Can you say that you love me? Boy, I oughta. When I tell you guys, I wanted to get out of my seat, reach for Barry through the screen, and strangle him. I want somebody to beat him so bad. How dare you threaten this man's family in his home, and then turn around and say that you love him, and then talk about, can you say it? Can you tell me that you love me? No. Oh my God. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. And it just, oh my God, it made me so mad. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. I know I'm yelling in your guys' ear. I'm sorry. But oh my God, when I tell you guys, I still want to after that scene. Like if I go back and rewatch it, I'm just, ooh, oh my gosh. I don't even know what else to say about it except for the fact that I know Kusuno probably wanted to beat him too. And if he could, he would have, if he was younger and maybe like wasn't around his family. But I'm like, Barry, what is you doing? Like, you doing too much. Oh my gosh. That scene just, oh, you could tell it irked my nerves. I was like, how could you say something like that? And if you guys watch the episode, then you already know what I'm talking about. You probably already know how I'm feeling. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about it and just saying like, wow, that scene, most people were talking about the scene between Barry and Sally, but I think a lot of people too were also like not him threatening Kusuno's family. First, you got this man riding around in your trunk all day. Then you gonna show up at his house. Then you go threaten his family. Then you go tell him that you love him. Then you go ask him, hey, do you love me? Can you tell me? What is not clicking, Barry? No, that is not okay. Oh my God. And I need to have a talk with Bill Hader, because I'm like, sir, what are you doing? Why are you writing this stuff? You're making me upset. You're making us all upset. You're making us want to pull our hair out. You're making us crazy. This is too much. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. So I'm sure you can imagine how I was looking at the end of the episode. Like, are you for real? Is this real? That's what I've been saying. Every time I watch a new episode, I'm like, is this real? Did this really just happen? Like, is this for real? Because I'm swear I'm just waiting for one of the characters to be like, oh, what were you saying? And then we're like, oh, it was a daydream, or oh, that was somebody just imagining that in their head. But no, this stuff is real. This is really happening, and it's only episode 2. It's only episode 2. What the heck are we gonna do for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? I don't know. And I know there's people out there that have already seen, I think maybe like the first 4 or 6 episodes, like they had early access to it. So I can't even imagine how y'all feeling, because y'all already seen what's going to happen. And listen, I'm about to have a heart attack, because I can just see this going bad so many different ways. Like every outcome that's in my head is just all bad. It's all bad. I don't see any happy endings for anybody. And I hate to say that, but I really don't. Maybe for Hank, but probably not like with Cristobal, unfortunately. As much as I want that, it's just like the tone of the show is not, it's just not happy. And so I don't see that for any of the main characters. And it's just it breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. And I'm trying to think, is there something? I feel like there was something else I was going to mention. Um, oh, okay. I was going to mention too about how, now that the acting class is not there, we're missing some of the people that were in the acting class. And I missed like Sasha and Jermaine. Like they were funny. I know they're probably what you would call considered like background characters, but they were so funny. Like if you really go back and listen to some of the stuff they said in season 1 and season 2, and I think Eric as well, they had some really funny lines. And so I'm not sure if they're not in the show anymore or if they will make an appearance at some point. Because Natalie is still there. Obviously, she's working for Sally. So I'm assuming that Natalie would keep in touch with people from the acting class. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of hoping that we get, a little bit of not so much them in the acting class, but the people from the acting class. I'm kind of hoping that we see like maybe a little appearance from them. But the other part of me is kind of scared of that too, because I'm also like, well, if they get involved, then like something might happen to them. So I don't know. But yeah, I kind of miss some of the other characters too. It's not so much that I miss the acting class. I think it's just the characters because they were funny. I feel like besides Hank, like they were the ones to really bring comedy to the show. But then at the same time, like season 3 is really not panning out to be that funny. It's just horrible. It's really horrible. And when I say horrible, I'm not saying to not watch it. I'm just saying it's horrible in the sense of like it's just all this like doom looming over everybody, and you just know it's going to be more doom with each episode, and it's sad. It's really sad, and it's really scary, and it's making me nervous, and it's making me sweat. So yeah, but of course I'm still going to keep watching it because I have to scream about it. I have to use this as my outlet to let you guys know that the show is driving me crazy, and I know there's other people out there who feel exactly like me because I see you guys on Twitter. Oh yeah, and I'm on Twitter. If you want to see me tweet about Barry, I typically will tweet after I watch the episode. I know some people like to tweet during. I just like to to watch the episode and then kind of say my thoughts. So I'm on Twitter if you ever want to see me talk about Barry, if you want to chat with me on there. My username is Prima Donna Girls. I know it's a super long name, but I've had it for forever and I'm not changing it. So it's PRIMADONNA GURLS. So girls is spelled with the U. That's my username on Twitter. If you go to my page, you'll probably see that I've tweeted about Barry a bunch. So I tweet about it every Sunday when the episode comes out because I stream the episode on HBO Max, and like I said, I'll watch it first and then I'll talk about it. And then it's funny because like half of my timeline is like tweets about Barry because I've been following so many people who watch the show. And so you'll probably see me interacting with other people. And like I said, if you're on Twitter and you want to interact with me, please do. Talk to me, scream to me about Barry. I love to talk to other fans about the show, to get their perspective on it, to get their theories, just to laugh and cry together because the show is crazy and it's intense. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave it off there. Yes, I'm sure there were other things in the episode that, I could have talked about, but I feel like the things that I mentioned were really like the highlights of the episode. Like I said, come scream at me on social media about the show, or if you ever want to be on the podcast, hit me up, let me know. I'll reserve a spot for you so we can come on and we could chat live about the show, and hopefully I'll get some guests going into the future. I'm definitely still working on that, and I can have more than one guest. So if it's like you and another friend and you guys want to be on the podcast, let me know and I'll work it out for you. But yeah, other than Twitter, of course, I'm on Facebook. And I was going to say my other social medias, but honestly, you'll see me talking about Barry mainly on Twitter. So just look for me on there or on Facebook. And yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up, and I will see you guys next Tuesday at 1 p.m. as usual to talk about episode 3. I'm not ready. Clearly, I'm not ready, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I love you guys and I love the show, and like I said, I need this outlet because I will go crazy if I don't. So we'll see you guys next week. Toodaloo.